Welcome the candidates to this series on the Virtual Educational and Exam Preparation Hub. Wish them well on their hunt for a satisfying government dream job through successful appearance in the SSC CGL Tier I exam. This is a curated model paper for practice for the upcoming SSC CGL Tier I 2026 exam.
It is genuinely fantastic to be here today. We really have a monumental task ahead of us. We're walking through the SSC CGL Tier I Model Paper 13, and we are covering all 100 questions in exact sequence.
Yeah, all 100.
Right. And if you're listening to this deep dive, you already know the stakes. Getting that government dream job requires, not just baseline knowledge, but a really exceptional, almost ruthless testing strategy.
It totally does. We really need to set the scene for you, the listener, because, the psychological pressure of this exam is just intense. You're looking at exactly 100 questions. You'll be graded out of 200 marks, and you have exactly 60 minutes to get it done.
Exactly 60 minutes.
Right. And when I hear those numbers, my brain immediately calculates that as like 36 seconds per question, which sounds like an impossible sprint. So how does a student survive that without completely burning out?
Well, you survive it by recognizing that treating every question equally is basically a recipe for failure.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the 60-minute limit is actually a strategic puzzle disguised as a time constraint. And the marking scheme is a double-edged sword, right? You get plus 2 marks for every correct answer, but a negative 0.50 penalty for a wrong one.
Ouch. So blind guessing is out.
Exactly. Blind guessing will just bleed your score dry. The winning strategy is what I like to call the time bank.
The time bank. I like that.
Yeah, so you aren't spending 36 seconds per question. You're going to sprint through the general awareness and English sections, answering those factual questions in like 10 or 15 seconds.
Oh, I see.
You literally bank that saved time, depositing it so you can spend 2 whole minutes on a complex quantitative puzzle later on. It's entirely about resource allocation.
I love that framework. You sprint through the facts to buy precious minutes for the math. Well, let's start with a mental warm-up, the section that tests your pattern recognition. We're jumping right into Section A, which is General Intelligence and Reasoning, covering questions 1 through 25.
Perfect.
Listeners, follow along sequentially with us.
And for this section, especially the analogies we're opening with, let me give you the golden rule of logical deduction.
Lay it on us.
Lock in the exact relationship of the first pair before you even glance at the multiple choice options. Test makers intentionally put these distractor options that look related but use the wrong logic.
Right.
So ask yourself, is the relationship a function, a category, maybe a degree of intensity? Define it first, then hunt for the match.
Let's test that immediately on question 1. The prompt asks us to select the related word. Sculptor is to statue, as architect is to what? The options are A, building, B, bridge, C, plan, D, stone. My instinct is that an architect makes a plan. Is that the trap?
Exactly. That is the distractor.
I knew it.
Yeah, if you look at sculptor and statue, the relationship is creator to their ultimate physical creation. A sculptor might make a sketch, sure, but the final output is the statue.
Right.
Now, apply that strict logic to architect. While an architect makes a plan, that's just an intermediate step. Their ultimate physical creation is building. Bridge is too specific, and stone is just a material. So option A, building, is the only structurally sound answer.
That makes so much sense. You really have to match the weight of the relationship. Okay, question 2 follows the same format. Cub is to lion, as foal is to what? Options are A, cow, B, horse, C, dog, D, cat.
So we define the relationship first, right? It's young offspring to adult animal.
Yeah.
A cub is the specific term for a baby lion. We need to know which animal has a baby called a foal. Well, a cow is young as a calf, a dog's is a puppy, a cat's is a kitten. The young of an equine, specifically a horse, is a foal. So option B, horse, is the answer.
Got it. Now we shift from words to numbers, which always feels a bit more abstract to me. Question 3. 20 is to 5, as 28 is to what? Options are A, 8, B, 4, C, 7, D, 6.
With number analogies, your brain should rapidly toggle between addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division.
Okay.
From 20 to 5, you could say minus 15. But if we apply that to 28, 28 minus 15 is 13. 13 isn't in our options.
Right, so that's a dead end.
Exactly. So we pivot to division. 20 divided by 4 gives us exactly 5. Let's test that new rule on the second half. 28 divided by 4 equals 7. And 7 is sitting right there as option C. It confirms our deduced pattern.
Awesome. Question 4 looks similar but feels trickier. 5 is to 35, as 8 is to what? Options A, 56, B, 72, C, 64, D, 80. Now, 5 times 7 is 35, so I just take 8 times 7, I get 56. And 56 is option A. But knowing how these exams work, is that too easy?
You have phenomenal exam intuition. It is a total trap.
I figured.
In SSC CGL reasoning, simple static multipliers are rarely the intended logic if a more dynamic mathematical pattern exists. Let's look deeper at the numbers 5 and 7. 7 is exactly 2 digits higher than 5.
Oh, I see where this is going.
Yeah, the hidden formula isn't just multiply by 7, it's multiply the number by itself plus 2. Mathematically, that's n multiplied by n plus 2. Let's apply that dynamic formula to our target number, 8. If n is 8, then n plus 2 is 10. 8 multiplied by 10 equals 80.
Wow.
80 is option D. The test makers prioritized the dynamic relative pattern over the static one, making 80 the correct answer.
That is a brilliant breakdown. You really have to look for the hidden architecture behind the numbers. Okay, question 5 brings us to letter clusters. DOG is to C and F as CIT is to what? Options A, BZS, B, BZT, C, AZS, D, BYS.
For letter analogies, you should have the alphabet numbered 1 to 26 permanently mapped in your mind.
That sounds intense but necessary.
It is. Let's track the movement from DOG to C and F. D moves backward 1 letter to C. O moves backward 1 letter to N. G moves backward 1 letter to F. The underlying rule is a uniform -1 letter shift.
Okay, simple enough.
Now we apply it to C at T. C minus 1 is B. A minus 1 loops around the back of the alphabet to Z. T minus 1 is S. String them together and you get BZS. That aligns flawlessly with option A.
Nice. Moving on to classification, which is essentially finding the odd one out. Question 6 lists 4 items. A, nail, B, hammer, C, screwdriver, D, pliers.
Classification requires you to find the broadest encompassing category for 3 of the items that excludes the 4th.
Right.
Think about the functional nature of these objects in a workshop. A hammer, a screwdriver, and pliers are all hand tools. They are the instruments a worker wields to apply force.
But a nail isn't.
Exactly. A nail is not the tool doing the work. It is the passive fastener that the hammer acts upon. Because it belongs to the category of fasteners rather than active tools, option A, nail, is the odd one out.
Makes perfect sense. Question 7 is the numerical version of classification. Find the odd one out. A, 24, B, 36, C, 8, D, 16. What pattern are we scanning for here?
Well, the moment you see 8, 16, and 24, your multiplication table should just light up.
Ah, multiples of 8.
Precisely. 8 times 1 is 8, 8 times 2 is 16, 8 times 3 is 24. 3 of these numbers are part of the direct sequential multiple family of 8. The outlier is 36. While 36 is a multiple of 6, 9, and 12, it cannot be divided evenly by 8. So option B, 36, is the odd number out.
Got it. Now we enter series completion. Question 8 gives us a letter sequence, A, D, I, P, and then a question mark. Options are A, X, B, Z, C, W, D, Y. How do we bridge these gaps?
Again, translate the letters into their numerical positions to reveal the hidden math. A is the first letter, D is the 4th, I is the 9th, P is the 16th. Now look at those numbers. 1, 4, 9, 16. Do they look familiar?
Oh, absolutely. Those are perfect squares. 1 squared, 2 squared, 3 squared, 4 squared.
You got it. Or, if you look at the gaps between them, the gap increases by consecutive odd numbers. +3, +5, +7. Both methods lead you to the exact same place.
Okay, so the next gap is +9.
Right. We're simply calculating 5 squared. 16 plus 9 is 25. The 25th letter of the English alphabet is Y. That confirms option D is the correct choice.
Question 9 is a pure number series. 1, 8, 27, 64, question mark. Options A, 125, B, 100, C, 81, D, 216. Given what we just discussed, I am immediately seeing perfect cubes here.
You are spot on. Recognizing squares and cubes up to at least 20 is mandatory for this exam. If you have to calculate them on the spot, you're losing that precious time we talked about banking.
So true.
1 is 1 cubed, 8 is 2 cubed, 27 is 3 cubed, 64 is 4 cubed. The sequence naturally progresses to 5 cubed. 5 times 5 is 25, times 5 again is 125. Option A is the answer.
Let's try. Question 10. Complete this series. 3, 6, 11, 18, 27, question mark. Options are A, 37, B, 38, C, 36, D, 40.
Let's extract the differences between consecutive terms. 6 minus 3 is a gap of 3. 11 minus 6 is a gap of 5. 18 minus 11 is 7. 27 minus 18 is 9.
Oh, odd numbers again.
Yep. The pattern is the addition of consecutive odd numbers. +3, 5, 7, and 9. To find our missing term, we must add the next odd number in the sequence, which is 11. 27 plus 11 equals 38. That points us directly to option B.
Nice and clean. Question 11 continues the series trend, but in reverse. 100, 50, 25, 12.5 question mark. Options A, 5, B, 7.5, C, 6.25, D, 6.
When a series descends this rapidly, it almost always indicates division or fractional multiplication. 100 divided by 2 gives you exactly 50. 50 divided by 2 is 25. 25 divided by 2 is 12.5.
So we're just having everything.
Exactly. The rule is simply having the previous number. To find the final term, we have 12.5. If you split it mentally, half of 12 is 6, and half of 0.50 is 0.25. Combine them, and you get 6.25. Option C is the correct answer.
Question 12 finishes up the series segment. 5, 6, 8, 11, 15, question mark. Options are A, 19, B, 21, C, 18, D, 20.
We check our gaps again. 6 minus 5 is 1. 8 minus 6 is 2. 11 minus 8 is 3. 15 minus 11 is 4.
Oh, that's just adding consecutive integers.
Right. The pattern is simply adding an incrementally larger whole number each time. Plus 1, plus 2, plus 3, plus 4. The next logical step is to add 5. 15 plus 5 equals 20. Option D is the definitive answer.
Okay, shifting to coding and decoding. These can be real-time syncs if you don't spot the trick early. Question 13. In a code language, the word LMP is written as QFRU. How is SSC written in that same code? Options A, KNXM, B, KNXN, C, JNXM, D, KOXM.
To crack the cipher, you stack the words mentally and map the distance from each original letter to its coded counterpart.
Okay.
L is the 12th letter, Q is the 17th. That's a forward jump of 5. A is 1, F is 6, another jump of 5. M is 13, R is 18. Plus 5 again, P is 16, U is 21. So perfectly consistent, plus 5 forward shift.
So we just do the same for FISH.
Exactly. F is the 6th letter, plus 5 is 11, which is K. I is 9, plus 5 is 14, which is NS is 19, plus 5 is 24, which is X. H is 8, plus 5 is 13, which is M. Bringing that all together, we decode it as KNXM. That perfectly matches option A.
Awesome. Question 14 is another coding puzzle. If A equals 1, B equals 2, all the way to Z equals 26, what is the sum of the position values of the letters of the word JAR? Options A, 28, B, 29, C, 27, D, 31. This seems almost too simple. Is it just adding the numbers?
It is exactly that simple, but the challenge here is speed. You shouldn't have to count on your fingers to find J or R.
Right, that eats into the time bank.
Exactly.
Yeah.
J is a common anchor letter. It's the 10th letter of the alphabet. A is obviously 1. R is the 18th letter. The prompt specifically asks for the sum. 10 plus 1 is 11, and 11 plus 18 gives us 29. Option B is the right answer. The trick here is just having those positional values memorized so it takes you 5 seconds, not 40.
Question 15 twists that concept slightly. If A equals 2, B equals 4, C equals 6, and so on, what is the code for the letter F? Options A, 14, B, 6, C, 12, D, 10.
The cipher rule here is laid out in the first few examples. The standard position of A is 1, but the code doubles it to 2. B is normally 2, but doubled it's 4. C is 3, doubled to 6.
Oh, so it's just multiplying the position by 2.
Precisely. The rule is simply taking the standard alphabetical position and multiplying it by 2. We need the code for F. F is the 6th letter. 6 multiplied by 2 is 12. Therefore, option C, 12, is the correct answer.
Let's move into blood relations. These always tie my brain in knots, I won't lie. Question 16. A is the son of B. B is the sister of C. C is the mother of D. How is A related to D? Options are A, brother, B, uncle, C, nephew, D, cousin.
The secret to blood relation questions is to draw a mental family tree, or, scribble it on your scratch pad, organizing it strictly by generations. Let's break it down piece by piece.
Okay, let's map it.
We're told B is the sister of C. That puts B and C on the exact same generational tier. They are siblings. Next, D is the mother of D. That means D is in the generation below, and B is D's aunt. Finally, we go back to the first clue. A is the son of B. So A is also in that lower generation.
Oh, I see it now.
Right. Now look at the structure. B and C are siblings. A is the child of B. D is the child of C. In family terminology, the children of two siblings are cousins to one another. So A and D are cousins. Option D is the correct answer.
That makes it so much clearer. Question 17 uses mathematical symbols to represent family ties. If P plus Q means P is the mother of Q, and P minus Q means P is the brother of Q, then what does the equation A plus B minus C mean? Options are A is the mother of C, B, A is the sister of C, C, A is the aunt of C, D, A is the brother of C.
You have to translate the equation sequentially from left to right, replacing the symbols with their relational definitions.
Sounds like translating a language.
It basically is. Let's look at the first half, A plus B. Based on the prompt, this translates directly to A is the mother of B. Now we evaluate the second half, B minus C. This translates to B is the brother of C.
Okay, so B and C are siblings.
Exactly. So if B is the brother of C, they are siblings who share the same parents. Since we already definitively established that A is the mother of B and B is C's brother, it logically follows that A must also be the mother of C. This leads us directly to option A.
That is a great way to decode it without getting lost. Let's test spatial awareness with question 18. A man walks 9 meters towards the east, then turns and walks 40 meters towards the north. How far is he from the starting point? Options are A, 39 meters, B, 41 meters, C, 49 meters, D, 31 meters. When I visualize this, he walks right, then straight up. That forms a triangle, right?
Exactly right. Because the cardinal directions east and north are perfectly perpendicular to each other, his path forms a right-angled triangle on the ground. The question asks, how far is he from the starting point, which implies the shortest straight line distance, not the total distance walked.
The hypotenuse.
Yes, that straight line is the hypotenuse of the triangle. We have to call upon the Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. The two legs of our journey are 9 and 40. 9 squared is 81. 40 squared is 1,600. Add those together and you get 1,681.
And the square root of that is?
The exact square root is 41. So he is 41 meters away. Option B is correct.
Question 19 is another directions puzzle. Rohit walks towards the south. He turns left, then left again, and then right. Which direction is he facing now? Options: A, west, B, south, C, east, D, north.
For these, imagine yourself in Rohit's shoes and track your orientation dynamically. You start facing south. If you are facing south, your left arm points east. He takes a left turn, so now he is facing east.
Okay, facing east.
From an eastern orientation, a left turn points you north. He takes that second left, so he is now facing north. Finally, from a northern orientation, he takes a right turn. A right turn from north swings you back to face the east. Therefore, after all those maneuvers, his final orientation is east. Option C is the correct answer.
Moving on to rankings and overlapping sets. Question 20. In a class of 30 students, Priya is 8th from the top and Anil is 8th from the bottom. How many students are there between them? Options: A, 15, B, 16, C, 13, D, 14.
The first thing you must check in a ranking problem is whether the positions overlap. The total class size is 30. Priya's position consumes 8 spots from the top. Anil's position consumes 8 spots from the bottom. 8 plus 8 is 16.
Which is way less than 30.
Exactly. Because 16 is significantly less than the total of 30, we know their positions do not overlap. There is a distinct gap between them. To find the number of people sandwiched in that gap, you take the total number of students and subtract both of their positional blocks. That's 30 minus 8, which simplifies to 30 minus 16. 30 minus 16 leaves us with exactly 14 students between them. Option D is the correct answer.
Question 21 brings in some clock trivia. How many times do the two hands of a clock form a right angle, or exactly 90 degrees, in a 12-hour period? Options: A, 22 times, B, 24 times, C, 11 times, D, 44 times. I would instinctively guess 24 since it happens twice an hour. What's the trick here?
That instinct is exactly what the test makers are preying on. It is true that in a standard hour, the minute hand overtakes the hour hand and forms two 90-degree angles. So 12 hours times 2 would logically be 24.
But it's not.
But it's not. However, you have to account for the continuous overlapping movement of both hands. Specifically, the exact 90-degree alignments consolidate into a single shared instance right at 3:00 and right at 9:00. Because of these overlapping intervals between 2 to 4 o'clock and 8 to 10 o'clock, you actually lose 2 occurrences in the sequence.
Oh, wow. I never thought of that.
Yes, so instead of 24, you subtract those 2 overlapping moments, and the factual answer is exactly 22 times in a 12-hour period. Therefore, option A is the correct answer.
That is fascinating. It's about the mechanics of the clock, not just basic multiplication. Question 22 is a syllogism, which always feels like navigating a maze. We have 2 statements: no teacher is rich, and all rich people are happy. We are given 2 conclusions. I, no teacher is happy. 2, some happy people are not teachers. Which options are correct? A, neither follows. B, only 2 follows. C, only I follows. D, both follow.
The key to syllogisms is ignoring real-world logic and focusing purely on formal structural logic.
That's hard to do sometimes.
It is, but the best way to solve this is by visualizing Venn diagrams. Imagine a circle for teachers and a totally separate circle for rich people. They cannot touch because no teacher is rich. Now imagine the circle for rich people is placed completely inside a massive circle representing happy people. Let's test conclusion I. No teacher is happy. Is that definitively proven?
Well, no, because the teacher circle could overlap with the happy circle somewhere else.
Exactly. While the teacher circle cannot touch the rich circle, it could absolutely float over and intersect with the massive happy circle. Teachers can be happy without being rich. So, conclusion I does not logically follow. Now test conclusion 2. Some happy people are not teachers. Look at our rich circle. Every single rich person is trapped inside the happy circle, meaning they are all happy people. But our first rule stated absolutely that no teacher is rich. Therefore, those rich people are definitively happy people who are not teachers. Because they exist, it proves that some happy people are not teachers. Conclusion 2 is logically bulletproof. The answer is option B, only 2 follows.
I love that visualization. You have to prove it definitively, not just suggest it might be true. Question 23 gives us a statement. Read the instructions carefully before using the machine. Conclusions are I, instructions help in using the machine correctly. 2, careless use may cause problems. Options A, only 2 follows. B, neither follows. C, both follow. D, only I follows.
This is a statement and assumption question. You have to read the implied intent behind the premise. Why would a manufacturer explicitly advise someone to read the instructions carefully?
Because they're helpful.
Right. The inherent assumption, the reason the statement exists at all, is that the instructions serve a positive guiding purpose. They're designed to help you use it correctly. So, conclusion clearly follows the intent. Furthermore, the warning to read them carefully strongly implies that failing to do so, meaning careless use, carries a risk of negative consequences or problems. If careless use didn't cause problems, the warning wouldn't be necessary. Thus, conclusion 2 also logically follows from the implication of the statement. Since both are structurally supported by the premise, option C is the correct answer.
Question 24 is a set theory problem. In a survey of 80 people, 45 like tea, 35 like coffee, and 15 like both. How many like neither? Options A, 20, B, 10, C, 25, D, 15.
This requires the principle of inclusion and exclusion, a fundamental concept in set theory. We need to find the total union, the number of unique people who like at least one of the beverages. If we just add the tea lovers and coffee lovers together, 45 plus 35, we get 80.
But some of those are the same people.
Exactly. We have double counted the 15 people who like both because they raised their hands for both the tea tally and the coffee tally. To get the true number, we must subtract that overlap. 80 minus 15 is 65. So exactly 65 unique individuals like either tea, coffee, or both. Since the total survey consisted of 80 people, we subtract the 65 beverage drinkers from the 80 total participants. 80 minus 65 leaves us with 15 people who like neither. Option D is correct. Finally, we wrap up section A with question 25, testing Bubo-DMAS rules with a substitution twist. If P means addition, Q means subtraction, R means multiplication, and S means division, then what is the value of 18, S3, R4, Q5, P6? Options A, 25, B, 24, C, 23, D, 26. Step 1 is incredibly straightforward but requires careful transcription. Substitute the letters with their operational signs. The expression rewrites as 18 divided by 3 multiplied by 4 minus 5 plus 6. Step 2 is where people fail.
Order of operations.
Yes. You must execute this strictly following the Bubo-DMAS hierarchy. Brackets, orders, division, multiplication, addition, subtraction. There are no brackets or exponents here, so we begin with division. 18 divided by 3 is 6. Our new expression is 6 multiplied by 4 minus 5 plus 6. Next is multiplication. 6 times 4 is 24. The expression is now 24 minus 5 plus 6. Finally, we handle addition and subtraction moving left to right. 24 minus 5 is 19. 19 plus 6 equals exactly 25. The final calculated value is 25, making option A the correct choice.
Take a breath if you're listening. That concludes our 25 questions of mental gymnastics. That's a quarter of the paper done. We are smoothly pivoting to section B, which is general awareness, covering questions 26 to 50. Listener, we're moving away from logical calculations into rapid-fire factual knowledge.
And my biggest, most crucial advisory for this section is this. Do not overthink.
Just go with your gut.
Exactly. Do not let your brain get stuck in a loop. In general awareness, you either know the historical date or you don't. You either know the chemical property or you don't. Do not waste a minute trying to logically deduce the location of a waterfall. If you know it, mark it. If you don't, guess intelligently if you can eliminate options, but otherwise move on. This section is where you generate the time surplus you will desperately need for the math section.
That is a vital reminder. Let's fire away with history. Question 26. The ancient University of Taxila is located in which present-day country? A, Afghanistan, B, Pakistan, C, India, D, Nepal.
Takshashila was one of the world's most renowned ancient centers of learning, dating back to antiquity. While it's deeply tied to ancient Indian history and literature, geographically, its excavated ruins are situated in the Punjab province of present-day Pakistan, roughly 30 kilometers northwest of Islamabad. So option B is correct.
Question 27. Who is credited with introducing the railways in India? A. Lord Ripon, B. Lord Curzon, C. Lord Dalhousie, D. Lord Canning.
The massive infrastructure project of the railway network is historically credited to Lord Dalhousie. Under his tenure as Governor-General, the very first commercial passenger train in India ran between Bombay and Thane in the year 1853. While the British intent was largely for rapid troop movement and resource extraction, it fundamentally reshaped the subcontinent. The correct answer is option C.
Question 28. In which city was the first session of the Indian National Congress held in 1885? A. Calcutta, B. Madras, C. Delhi, D. Bombay.
This is a fundamental cornerstone of modern Indian political history. The Indian National Congress, which would go on to spearhead the independence movement, convened its inaugural session in late December of 1885. This historic gathering took place in Bombay, which is present-day Mumbai. Option D is the factual answer.
Question 29. Who gave the slogan, "Swaraj is my birthright and I shall have it"? A. Bal Gangadhar Tilak, B. Bhagat Singh, C. Subhash Chandra Bose, D. Lal Lajpat Rai.
That incredibly famous mobilizing declaration served as a massive rallying cry during the independence movement. It was coined by the fierce nationalist Bal Gangadhar Tilak, emphasizing self-rule not as concession from the British, but as an inherent human right. Option A is the correct answer.
Moving into polity, question 30. How many members can the President of India nominate to the Rajya Sabha? A. 14, B. 12, C. 2, D. 10.
The Rajya Sabha is the upper house of India's parliament, designed to act as a reviewing body. While the vast majority of its members are elected by state legislatures, the Constitution grants the president the power to nominate a specific number of members directly.
Which is how many?
That number is exactly 12. These individuals are chosen to bring specialized expertise into the legislative process, usually recognized for their special knowledge or practical experience in fields like art, literature, science, and social service. Option B is correct.
Question 31. Which part of the Constitution of India deals with fundamental rights? A. Part 2, B. Part 1, C. Part 3, D. Part 4.
The fundamental rights are often considered the conscience, or the Magna Carta of the Indian Constitution. They guarantee core civil liberties, like equality, freedom of speech, and protection from discrimination, ensuring that all citizens can lead their lives with dignity. These crucial rights are specifically enshrined in Part 3 of the Constitution, spanning Articles 12 through 35. Therefore, option C is the right answer.
Question 32. The idea of the preamble of the Indian Constitution was borrowed from the Constitution of which country? A. Ireland, B. United Kingdom, C. France, D. United States.
The framers of the Indian Constitution, led by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, meticulously studied numerous global democratic documents to synthesize the best practices. While they borrowed directive principles from Ireland and parliamentary structures from the UK, the specific structural concept of opening the document with a preamble, an introductory statement outlining the document's authority, purpose, and underlying philosophy, was directly inspired by the Constitution of the United States. Option D is the correct choice.
Question 33. Who administers the oath of office to the President of India? A. The Chief Justice of India, B. The Vice President, C. The Speaker, D. The Prime Minister.
This is a matter of constitutional protocol and the balance of power. The oath of office is a solemn pledge to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution. Therefore, it is fitting that the highest judicial authority in the land swears in the highest executive authority. Consequently, the Chief Justice of India administers the oath to the incoming president. Option A is the factual answer.
Let's shift to geography. Question 34. Which imaginary line divides the Earth into the northern and southern hemispheres? A. The Arctic Circle, B. The equator, C. The prime meridian, D. The Tropic of Cancer.
Let's rule them out. The prime meridian is the line of longitude that divides the Earth into the eastern and western hemispheres. The Tropic of Cancer and the Arctic Circle mark specific latitudinal zones. The line of 0 degrees latitude, the massive belt that evenly bisects the globe horizontally into the northern and southern hemispheres, is unequivocally the equator. Option B is correct.
Question 35. Which is the highest waterfall in the world? A. Victoria Falls, B. Jog Falls, C. Angel Falls, D. Niagara Falls.
Waterfalls can be categorized by volume, width, or height. When specifically measuring the tallest uninterrupted vertical drop of water globally, Angel Falls takes the absolute crown. Plunging over the edge of the Ollantaytambo Mountain in the Canima National Park of Venezuela, it boasts a staggering height of almost 1,000 meters. Option C is the factual answer.
Question 36. The Sundarbans mangrove forest is shared by India and which neighboring country? A. Myanmar, B. Nepal, C. Sri Lanka, D. Bangladesh.
The Sundarbans is a massive, ecologically vital region, renowned as the largest continuous mangrove forest in the world and the home of the Bengal tiger. It's located in the massive delta formed by the confluence of the Ganges, Brahmaputra, and Meghna rivers right before they empty into the Bay of Bengal. This vast forest ecosystem ignores political borders, lying across the Indian state of West Bengal and extending deeply into the neighboring country of Bangladesh. Option D is correct.
Question 37. Which Indian state is the largest producer of tea? A. Assam, B. Kerala, C. West Bengal, D. Tamil Nadu.
All four of these states have significant tea industries. Regions like Darjeeling and West Bengal produce highly sought-after premium teas, and the Nilgiris in Tamil Nadu are famous for their unique flavor profiles. However, when we talk about sheer scale and total volume of production, one region dominates. Assam, with its sprawling estates along the Brahmaputra Valley, is by far the largest tea-producing state in India. Option A is the right answer.
Let's try a bit of economy now. Question 38. Which is the apex bank for agriculture and rural development in India? A. SIDBI, B. NABARD, C. CBDIRDI.
The acronym gives it away if you unpack it. NABARD stands for the National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development. As the name explicitly suggests, it was established to act as the premier apex regulatory body entrusted with the overall regulation, planning, and operations concerning credit for agriculture and other economic activities in rural areas in India. Option B is correct.
Questions 39 and 40 are rapid-fire checks on international currencies. Question 39. What is the currency of Japan? A. Yuan, B. Ringgit, C. Yen, D. Won.
Let's clear the board. The yuan is the primary unit of currency in China. The ringgit is the currency of Malaysia. The won is utilized by South Korea. By elimination and factual recall, the official currency of Japan is the yen. Option C is the answer.
Question 40. What is the currency of the United Kingdom? A. Euro, B. Dollar, C. Franc, D. Pound sterling.
Even during its decades-long membership in the European Union, the United Kingdom famously negotiated an opt-out and retained its own historic sovereign currency rather than adopting the euro. Today, post-Brexit, it obviously continues to use it. The official currency of the United Kingdom is the pound sterling. Option D is correct.
Let's test general science. Question 41. Which gas turns lime water milky? A. Carbon dioxide, B. Oxygen, C. Hydrogen, D. Nitrogen.
This is a classic, memorable chemistry experiment from secondary school used to demonstrate the carbon cycle. Lime water is an aqueous solution of calcium hydroxide. When you exhale or pass carbon dioxide gas through it, a chemical reaction occurs, forming an insoluble precipitate called calcium carbonate.
So it's basically tiny solids making it look cloudy.
Exactly. These tiny solid particles of calcium carbonate suspended in the liquid are exactly what gives the water that distinct milky, cloudy appearance. Option A is the right answer.
Question 42. How many pairs of ribs are there in the human body? A. 11 pairs, B. 12 pairs, C. 10 pairs, D. 14 pairs.
Anatomically speaking, a typical human skeletal structure contains 12 pairs of ribs. These arch around to form the protective rib cage that shields vital organs like the heart and lungs. 7 are true ribs attached to the sternum, 3 are false ribs, and the bottom 2 pairs are known as floating ribs. But altogether they make 12 pairs, totaling 24 individual ribs. Option B is the correct choice.
Question 43. What is the normal number of chromosomes in a human body cell? A. 48, B. 44, C. 46, D. 23. This feels like a trick question based on how it's phrased.
It is an incredibly common trap. You have to read the question's specific wording under pressure. It asks for the normal number of chromosomes, meaning the total number, not the number of pairs.
Ah, right, because people jump at 23.
Yeah, a normal human somatic cell contains 23 pairs of chromosomes, half inherited from each parent. Because there are 23 pairs, the total number of individual chromosomes is 46. If you blindly scan and pick 23, you lose the points. Option C, 46, is the correct answer.
Question 44. Which metal is in a liquid state at room temperature? A. Iron, B. Lead, C. Zinc, D. Mercury.
Metals are generally characterized by a specific set of physical properties. They are malleable, ductile, conduct electricity, and crucially, they exist as solid crystalline structures at standard room temperature. Mercury is the famous, fascinating exception. Due to its unique atomic structure and the way its electrons behave, its melting point is incredibly low. Thus, it remains a liquid under ordinary room conditions. Option D is the factual answer. Question 45. What is the approximate speed of sound in air? A, about 340 meters per second. B, about 3,000 meters per second. C, about 3 times 10 to the power of 8 meters per second.
Let's immediately eliminate option D. 3 times 10 to the 8th power meters per second is roughly 300,000 kilometers per second. That's the staggering speed of light in a vacuum. Sound relies on mechanical waves compressing molecules, which is a much slower process. Through dry air at a typical room temperature of 20 degrees Celsius, acoustic waves travel at roughly 343 meters per second. Therefore, option A, about 340 meters per second, is the correct approximation. Rounding out section B with static general knowledge. Question 46. Which is the brightest star in the night sky as seen from the Earth? A, Vega, B, Sirius, C, Polaris, D, Betelgeuse.
Polaris is culturally famous for being the North Star, crucial for navigation because it holds its position in the sky, but it's actually quite dim. Betelgeuse is a massive red supergiant, but it fluctuates in brightness. The objective title for the brightest star visible from Earth goes to Sirius. Located in the constellation Canis Major, it is also commonly referred to as the Dog Star. Option B is correct.
Question 47. What is the motto inscribed below the state emblem of India? A, Jai Hind, B, Ser Jahan Se Acha, C, Satyameva Jayate, D, Vande Mataram.
The state emblem of India is an adaptation of the lion capital of Ashoka from Sarnath. Beneath the abacus, a specific powerful phrase from the ancient Mundaka Upanishad is inscribed in the Devanagari script. That official motto is Satyameva Jayate, which profoundly translates to truth alone triumphs. Option C is the correct answer.
Question 48. The Brihadiswar Temple, often called the Big Temple, is located in which city? A, Madurai, B, Chennai, C, Mysuru, D, Thanjavur.
This is a pinnacle of South Indian history. Built by the great Chola Emperor Rajaraja Kurst in the 11th century, this magnificent piece of Dravidian architecture is one of the largest and most ambitious Hindu temples ever constructed. This UNESCO World Heritage Site is situated in the city of Thanjavur in the state of Tamil Nadu. Option D is the factual choice.
Question 49. Which is the largest freshwater lake in the world by surface area? A, Lake Superior, B, Lake Victoria, C, Lake Baikal, D, Lake Tanganyika.
The metric defined in the question is crucial here. If we were measuring by total volume of water or depth, Lake Baikal in Russia takes the crown easily. But the question specifically asks for the largest by surface area. By that geographical metric, Lake Superior, located in North America straddling the border of the U.S. and Canada, is the largest freshwater lake globally. Option A is the right answer.
And the final general awareness question, number 50. On which date is Independence Day celebrated in India? A, 14 November, B, 15 August, C, 26 January, D, 2 October.
A foundational date for any citizen. January 26th is Republic Day, marking when the Constitution came into effect in 1950. October 2nd is Gandhi Jayanti. India officially celebrates its Independence Day, marking its historic freedom from British colonial rule in 1947 on the 15th of August. Option B is the correct answer.
Shake out your shoulders, listener. That marks exactly halfway through the paper. We're transitioning to section C. Get ready to pull out your mental scratch pad because we are diving deep into quantitative aptitude. This section covers questions 51 to 75.
And for this mathematical section, my absolute core strategy note is this. Fight the urge to brute force the arithmetic. Always look for the mathematical shortcut.
Right, because time is our most precious commodity right now.
Exactly. The examiners deliberately designed these questions to be solvable in under a minute if you spot the proportional relationship, the ratio trick, or the standardized formula. If you find yourself doing long division with 4-digit numbers, you've probably missed the shortcut.
Let's test that philosophy immediately on percentages. Question 51. What is 15% of 240? A, 40, B, 30, C, 36, D, 32. If I were brute forcing this, I'd multiply 240 by 15 and then divide by 100. That feels slow.
It's way too slow. The shortcut is breaking the percentage into manageable mental blocks. You need 15%. Think of that as 10% plus 5%.
Oh, that's smart.
Finding 10% of any number is effortless. You just shift the decimal point one spot to the left. 10% of 240 is 24. Now what is 5%? 5 is exactly half of 10. So 5% must be exactly half of 24, which is 12. Add your two blocks together. The 10% value of 24 plus the 5% value of 12, 24 plus 12 equals 36. You arrive at the answer without ever touching your pen to paper. Option C is correct.
That is brilliant. It feels like a magic trick when you break it down like that. Let's look at question 52. If 25% of a number is 50, what is 75% of the same number? A, 100, B, 125, C, 175, D, 150. A lot of students would try to solve for the base number first, right? Like 25% is 50, so the total number must be 200, and then find 75% of 200.
Exactly, and that is a waste of time. This is a perfect place for proportional logic. You don't actually care what the base number is. Look at the relationship between the percentages. You have 25%, and you need to find 75%. 75 is exactly 3 times 25.
Oh, right.
Because the percentages scale proportionally, their underlying values must scale by the exact same multiplier. Therefore, the value of 75% must be exactly 3 times the value of 25%. 3 multiplied by the known value of 50 equals 150. That instantly gives us option D.
I love how fast that is. Let's see if we can apply similar logic to ratios. Question 53. The ratio of the ages of A and B is 5:3. If A is 30 years old, find B's age. A, 18 years, B, 20 years, C, 15 years, D, 24 years.
Ratio is your standardized parts of a whole. A's ratio shares 5 parts. We are explicitly told those 5 parts equate to 30 actual years. To find the real-world value of a single ratio part, we divide 30 by 5. So 1 part equals 6 years.
Okay, so each part is worth 6 years.
Exactly. Now look at B. B's ratio shares 3 parts. To find B's actual age, we multiply their 3 parts by the value of 1 part, which we just established is 6. 3 times 6 is 18. So B is 18 years old, making option A the correct answer.
Question 54 deals with averages. What is the average of 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50? A, 40, B, 30, C, 25, D, 35. The brute force method is adding them all up. 10 plus 20 is 30, plus 30 is 60, plus 40 is 100, plus 50 is 150. Then divide 150 by the 5 items to get 30. But tell me there's a shortcut.
There's a massive shortcut, provided you recognize the structure of the numbers. Look at the sequence. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. It's an arithmetic progression. The numbers increase by a constant identical step of 10 each time.
Right, it's symmetrical.
Yes. Whenever you ask to find the average of a perfectly symmetrical arithmetic progression with an odd number of terms, you don't calculate anything. The average is simply the exact middle number of the sequence. The number perfectly anchored in the middle of 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50 is undeniably 30. Option B is your answer, solved in 3 seconds.
Question 55 is a different type of average problem. The average weight of 4 people is 60 kilograms. When a 5th person joins, the average becomes 62 kilograms. Find the weight of the 5th person. A, 72 kilograms, B, 62 kilograms, C, 70 kilograms, D, 68 kilograms.
To solve this, you walk through the total cumulative weight difference. Let's find the initial total. The initial total weight of the group of 4 people is 4, multiplied by their average of 60. 4 times 60 is 240 kilograms. That's the baseline.
Okay, baseline established.
When the 5th person joins the room, we now have a group of 5 people, and their new elevated average is 62 kilograms. So the new total weight of the room is 5 multiplied by 62, which gives us 310 kilograms. The weight of the newly added 5th person is simply the physical difference between the new total and the old baseline total. 310 minus 240 leaves us with a difference of 70 kilograms. That must be the 5th person's weight. Option C is correct.
Moving into profit, loss, and discounts. Question 56. A trader buys an article for Rs 400 and marks it 25% above the cost price. Find the marked price. A, Rs 450, B, Rs 480, C, Rs 520, D, Rs 500.
The base cost is our starting point at 400. We need to calculate the markup, which is 25% of that 400. You'd instantly translate common percentages into fractions. 25% is exactly 1/4. Finding 1/4 of 400 is simple division. 400 divided by 4 is 100.
So the markup is the 100.
Right, so the trader marks up the value by 100 rupees. We add that markup back to the original cost. 400 plus 100 equals a final marked price of 500 rupees. Option D is the correct answer.
Question 57 is one of those classic trick questions that examiners love. A man sells 2 articles at Rs 600 each, gaining 20% on one and losing 20% on the other. What is the overall result? A, all loss of 4%. B, a gain of 4%. C, no profit, no loss. D, a loss of 2%. My brain instantly says, well, plus 20 and minus 20 cancels out perfectly, so it must be C, no profit, no loss.
That is the most dangerous, most common trap on the entire paper. The percentages absolutely do not cancel out, and understanding why is crucial. Think about the underlying math. You are gaining 20% on a cheaper item to reach a final price of 600. But you're losing 20% on a much more expensive item to drop down to that same 600.
Oh, because the starting bases are different.
Exactly. The raw dollar amount you lost off the expensive item is mathematically larger than the raw dollar amount you gained on the cheap item. That is why you always take a net loss in this specific scenario. The shortcut formula, the golden rule you must memorize for this exact problem structure, is simply the percentage squared divided by 100.
Okay, let's plug it in.
So we take our x, which is the 20%. 20 squared is 400. Divide 400 by 100, and you get 4. The overall result is a definitive net loss of 4%. Option A is your answer.
That is an incredible shortcut, and knowing the logic behind it makes it unforgettable. Question 58. Find the single discount equivalent to two successive discounts of 20% and 25%. A, 50%, B, 40%, C, 45%, D, 35%. If I just add them together, I get 45. But knowing these tests, that's probably wrong too.
It is wrong. Successive discounts are applied one after the other to a shrinking baseline, not added together against the original price.
Yeah.
The multiplier method is the safest, most reliable way to solve this. Let's assume the original price of the item is 100% or 1.0. A 20% discount means you are still paying 80% of the value, which is a 0.80 multiplier. The next successive discount is 25%, meaning you pay 75% of the new price, giving us a 0.75 multiplier. Now simply multiply those two retention factors together. 0.80 multiplied by 0.75 equals 0.60. So after both discounts have hit, you are essentially paying 60% of the original price. The question asks for the total discount equivalent. If you're paying 60%, the total discount you received is 100 minus 60, which is 40%. The equivalent single discount is 40%. Option B is correct.
Let's calculate some interest. Question 59. In how many years will Rs 5,000 amount to Rs 6,500 at 6% per annum simple interest? A, 6 years, B, 3 years, C, 5 years, D, 4 years.
First, we must isolate the total interest earned over the period. The final accrued amount is 6,500, and the initial principal investment is 5,000. So the pure simple interest generated is 6,500 minus 5,000, which equals exactly 1,500 rupees.
Okay, so we made 1,500 in interest.
Now we manipulate the standard simple interest formula, which is interest equals principal times rate times time over 100. Rearranging to solve for time, we get time equals simple interest multiplied by 100 divided by the product of principal and rate. Plugging our numbers in, 1,500 times 100 divided by the product of 5,006.
Let's simplify that.
The 1,500 over 5,000 simplifies neatly to 3 over 10. So we are left with 3 times 100, which is 300, divided by 10 times 6, which is 60. 300 divided by 60 equals exactly 5. It will take 5 years. Option C is the correct answer.
Question 60 shifts the focus to compound interest. Find the compound interest on Rs 4,000 at 10% per annum for 2 years, compounded annually. A, Rs 800, B, Rs 400, C, Rs 880, D, Rs 840.
If this were simple interest, 10% over 2 years would just be a flat 20%, yielding 800 rupees. But compound interest means you earn interest on your interest. The fastest way to calculate 2 years of compound interest at a clean rate like 10% is using a decimal multiplier. A 10% increase is a multiplier of 1.7. For 2 consecutive years, you square that multiplier. 1.1 squared equals 1.21.
Okay, making sense so far.
So the final compounded amount is the principal multiplied by 1.21. 4,000 multiplied by 1.21 gives us 408.40 is the total final amount in the bank. However, read the prompt carefully. The question asks for the interest itself, not the total amount. So we must subtract the original 4,000 principal from the 4,840 total, leaving us with exactly 840 rupees of accrued compound interest. Option D is the right choice.
Let's tackle time, work, and speed problems now. Question 61. A can finish a job in 6 days and B in 12 days. If they work together for 2 days, what fraction of the work is left? A, 12, B, 13, C, 14, D, 23.
The trick with combined work problems is to convert everything into a daily work rate. If worker A finishes the entire job in 6 days, then A completes exactly 1/16 of the work in a single day. If worker B finishes in 12 days, B completes 112th of the work per day.
So we add their daily rates together.
Right. When they work together, we simply add their daily fractional rates. Their combined daily rate is 16 plus 112. Find a common denominator, which is 12. Convert 16 to 212. Now add 212 plus 112 equals 312. Simplify that fraction and we get 14. This tells us that together, they complete 1/4 of the job every single day.
And they work for 2 days.
Exactly. The prompt states they work together for exactly 2 days. 2 days multiplied by 14 per day equals 24 total work done, which simplifies to 12. They've completed exactly half the work. The question asks what fraction is left. The total job is 1 minus the 12 completed, leaving exactly 12 of the work remaining. Option A is correct.
Question 62 uses the exact same underlying logic but applies it to infrastructure. 2 pipes can fill a tank in 12 minutes and 24 minutes, respectively. If both are open together, how long will it take to fill the tank? A, 18 minutes, B, 8 minutes, C, 6 minutes, D, 10 minutes.
You're right. It is the exact same reciprocal addition mechanic. We find their per minute filling rate. Pipe 1 fills 112th of the tank volume per minute. Pipe 2 fills 124th of the volume per minute. Operating combined, they fill at a rate of 112 plus 124.
So find the common denominator again.
We convert 112 to have a common denominator, making it 224. Adding them together, 224 plus 124 equals 324 of the tank filled per minute. Simplify 324 by dividing by 3, and you get a combined rate of 18. This means operating together, they fill 1/8 of the total tank volume every single minute.
So the whole tank takes 8 minutes.
Exactly. To find the time to fill the entire whole tank, you simply take the reciprocal of that combined fractional rate. The reciprocal of 18 is exactly 8 minutes. Option B is your answer.
Question 63. A bus covers 240 kilometers in 4 hours. What distance will it cover in 7 hours at the same speed? A, 440 kilometers, B, 360 kilometers, C, 420 kilometers, D, 400 kilometers.
This is a two-step problem rooted in the basic formula. Speed equals distance divided by time. First, establish the constant speed of the bus. 240 kilometers divided by 4 hours gives us a steady, uniform speed of 60 kilometers per hour.
Okay, 60 kilometers.
Once we have that constant, the second step is finding the new distance using the formula. Distance equals speed multiplied by time. We take that constant 60 kilometers per hour and multiply it by the new duration of 7 hours. 60 multiplied by 7 equals 420 kilometers. That aligns perfectly with option C.
Question 64 introduces the nightmare of unit conversions. A train running at 54 kilometers crosses a pole in 10 seconds. Find the lengths of the train. A, 540 meters, B, 90 meters, C, 120 meters, D, 150 meters. Now, if I just blindly multiply speed by time, 54 times 10 gives me 540, which is option A. But my units are all mixed up, aren't they?
Exactly. You have kilometers per hour clashing with seconds, and the answers are in meters. You cannot multiply those directly. You must first convert the train speed of 54 kilometers per hour into meters per second. Now, the long way is multiplying by 1,000 meters and dividing by 3,600 seconds.
Is there a faster way?
Yes. The crucial exam shortcut multiplier for converting kilometeration directly to AMs is simply multiplying by 518. So take 54 and multiply by 5 over 18. 18 goes into 54 exactly 3 times. 3 multiplied by 5 is 15. We've now established the train is moving at 15 meters per second.
That is so much faster.
Now, finally, we can calculate the distance. When a train crosses a stationary point like a pole, the distance it covers is exactly equal to its own full length. Distance equals speed times time. 15 meters per second multiplied by the 10 seconds it took to cross equals a length of 150 meters. Option D is the correct answer.
Question 65 is a mixtures problem. A 60-liter solution contains acid and water in the ratio 2:1. How many liters of acid does it contain? A, 40 liters, B, 20 liters, C, 30 liters, D, 45 liters.
We treat the ratio numbers as discrete parts of the whole solution. The total composition of the mixture is 2 parts acid plus 1 part water, equating to 3 total conceptual parts making up the entire volume. We must divide the actual total physical volume by this number of parts to find the specific volume of a single part.
So 60 divided by 3.
Exactly. The total volume is 60 liters. 60 liters divided by our 3 total parts gives us 20 liters per single ratio part. The question asks specifically for the acid content. According to the ratio, acid represents exactly 2 of those parts. 2 parts multiplied by the 20 liters per part yield 40 liters of actual acid in the solution. Option A is correct.
Let's move on to geometry and mensuration. Question 66. Find the area of a rhombus whose diagonals are 12 centimeters and 8 centimeters. A, 26 cubic centimeters, B, 48 centimeters, C, 96 centimeters, D, 24 centimeters in the zeta.
Mensuration questions often rely entirely on knowing the specific specialized formula for a geometric shape. You cannot easily derive this on the fly. The area of a rhombus, when given the lengths of its intersecting diagonals, is calculated as exactly 1/2 multiplied by the product of those 2 diagonals.
Okay, so 12 times 12 times 8.
Exactly. So our formula application is 12 multiplied by 12 multiplied by 8. Let's do the product first. 12 times 8 is 96. Now take half of that. Half of 96 gives us a total area of 48 square centimeters. Option B is the right answer.
Question 67. The perimeter of a rectangle is 36 centimeters and its length is 10 centimeters. Find its breadth. A, 10 centimeters, B, 9 centimeters, C, 8 centimeters, D, 6 centimeters.
Introduce this missing dimension by working backward algebraically from the standard perimeter formula. The perimeter of any rectangle equals 2 times the total sum of its length and breadth. Let's plug in what we know. 36 equals 2 multiplied by the quantity 10 plus breadth.
Got it.
First, let's simplify by dividing both sides of the equation by 2. That leaves us with 18 equals 10 plus breadth. Now, to isolate the breadth, we subtract the length of 10 from the half perimeter of 18. 18 minus 10 means we can definitively deduce the breadth must be exactly 8 centimeters. Option C is the correct answer.
Question 68. Find the total surface area of a cuboid measuring 5 centimeters by 4 centimeters by 3 centimeters. A, 60 SQ centimeters, B, 47 SQ centimeters, C, 100 SQ centimeters, D, 94 SQ centimeters. When I visualize this, I picture a small shoebox, and I know I have to find the area of all 6 rectangular sides.
That visualization is perfect. A cuboid has 3 pairs of identical opposing faces. Again, rigorous formula application saves time over piecemeal calculation. The formula for the total surface area of a cuboid is 2 times the sum of the 3 distinct facial areas. Length times breadth, breadth times height, and height times length.
Let's pair them all up.
Let's walk through that calculation. 2 times the sum of 5 by 4 plus 4 by 3 plus 3 by 5. Let's resolve the multiplications inside the brackets first. That becomes 2 times the sum of 20 plus 12 plus 15. Adding those together, 20 plus 12 is 32, and 32 plus 15 is 47. So the combined area of 3 adjacent faces is 47.
And we multiply by 2 to get the other sides.
Exactly. We multiply that by 2 to account for their opposing sides. Doubling 47 yield a total surface area of 94 square centimeters, making option D correct.
Question 69. What is the measure of each exterior angle of a regular hexagon? A, 60 degrees, B, 120 degrees, C, 90 degrees, D, 72 degrees.
There is a beautiful universal geometric rule you must remember here. For any convex polygon, regardless of how many sides it has, if you walk all the way around its perimeter, you've completed a full rotation. Therefore, the sum of all its exterior angles is always exactly 360 degrees.
Oh, that's a great rule to know.
The prompt specifies a regular hexagon, meaning all sides and angles are perfectly equal. To find the measure of a single exterior angle, you simply take that total 360 degrees and divide it evenly by the number of sides. A hexagon has 6 sides, so 360 divided by 6 gives us exactly 60 degrees per exterior angle. Option A is correct.
Question 70. How many right angles make up a complete circle, which is 360 degrees? A, 6, B, 4, C, 2, D, 3.
This is almost a definitional question. In geometry, a standard right angle is strictly defined as an angle of exactly 90 degrees. To find how many of these fit into the complete 360-degree rotation of a circle, we simply perform the division, 360 divided by 90. The zeros cancel out, leaving 36 divided by 9. The mathematical result is exactly 4. Think of the 4 quadrants of a standard Cartesian coordinate graph. Option B is your factual answer.
We're taking a quick dip into trigonometry for questions 71 and 72. Question 71. What is the value of sin 0 degrees? A, 12, B, root 3 over 2, C, 0, D, 1.
There is no calculation to be done here. It's pure rote memorization. You must have the standard trigonometric ratios table for common angles 0, 30, 45, 60, and 90 degrees burned into your memory. The sign of 0 degrees, representing a perfectly flat angle with no vertical displacement on the unit circle, is unequivocally 0. Option C is the answer.
Question 72. What is the value of sec 60 degrees multiplied by cos 60 degrees? A, 0, B, 2, C, 12, D, 1. Now, for my memorized table, I know cosine 60 is 12, so I suppose I could figure out the value of secant 60 and multiply them. But isn't there a conceptual trick here to save time?
Yes, the conceptual trick saves you the entire calculation, and recognizing these identities is what separates good test takers from great ones. Secant and cosine are mathematical reciprocal functions of each other. Secant theta is literally defined as 1 over cosine theta.
So they cancel out.
Therefore, when you multiply any given trigonometric function by its exact mathematical reciprocal for the exact same angle, the denominators cancel out, and the resulting product will inevitably be 1. You don't even need to know the specific values for 60 degrees to solve it. But to prove the point, secant 60 is 2 and cosine 60 is 12. 2 multiplied by 1/2 indeed proves the answer is 1. Option D is the correct choice, solved instantly by recognizing the identity.
Question 73 brings us to basic algebra. If 7x minus 4 equals 3x plus 8, find the value of x, A, 3, B, 4, C, 2, D, 5.
The goal here is balancing the equation to isolate the variable x on one side and the numerical constants on the other. Let's move all terms containing x to the left side by subtracting 3x from both sides of the equation. 7x minus 3x leaves us with 4x, so we have 4x minus 4 equals 8.
Now move the number.
Next, we move the constants to the right side by adding 4 to both sides. 8 plus 4 is 12. That gives us the simplified equation 4x equals 12. Finally, to isolate x completely, we divide both sides by 4. 12 divided by 4 means x equals 3. These simple, methodical algebraic steps lead directly to option A.
Question 74. What is the HCF, or highest common factor, of 12 and 16? A, 48, B, 4, C, 2, D, 8.
While you might be able to guess this for small numbers, let's use the prime factorization method as it scales to larger problems. We break each number down to its prime roots. The prime factors of 12, or 2 times 2 times 3, or expressed as powers, 2 squared multiplied by 3. The prime factors of 16 are 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, or 2 to the power of 4.
Okay, we have the prime bases.
The rule for finding the highest common factor is to identify the common prime bases and multiply them at their lowest exponent power present in both factorizations. The only prime base they share is 2. The power of 2 and 12 is squared. The power of 2 and 16 is to the 4th. The lowest power is 2. Therefore, the HCF is 2 squared. 2 squared equals 4. Thus, mathematically, 4 is the largest integer that divides evenly into both 12 and 16 without a remainder. Option B is correct.
And we have reached the final math question, number 75. What is the cube of 5 or 5 to the power of 3? A, 15, B, 75, C, 125, D, 25.
Just a straightforward exponent calculation to finish out the heavy lifting of the section. The cube of a number is that number multiplied by itself and then multiplied by itself again. So 5 times 5 times 5. 5 multiplied by 5 gives us 25. Then 25 multiplied by that final 5 yields 125. Okay. Option C is definitively correct.
Fantastic work navigating that section, listener. You can put the mental scratch pad away. We are moving away from numbers and transitioning smoothly to the fourth and final leg of the paper, Section D. This section focuses entirely on the rules of English comprehension, covering the final stretch of questions, 76 to 100.
My primary advisory as we enter the English section is to rely heavily on your natural linguistic intuition as a reader or speaker.
Trust your gut, basically.
Yeah, read the full sentences mentally, allowing yourself to hear the grammatical errors or correct syntactic flows naturally. English rules are vast and complex, but if a sentence structure sounds horribly awkward when you speak it in your head, there's a very high probability it is grammatically incorrect. Trust your inner ear as much as you trust your memorized textbook rules.
Let's put that intuition to the test, starting with vocabulary. Question 76. Select the most appropriate synonym of the given word. Clever. A, foolish. B, dull. C, slow. D, intelligent.
A synonym is a word with the exact same or nearly the exact same semantic meaning as another word. The target word is clever, which describes an entity that is quick to understand, learn, and devise or apply ideas.
Right.
When we scan the options, foolish, dull, and slow are all antonyms. They represent a distinct lack of mental sharpness or agility. The only option that aligns with the quick-witted nature of clever is intelligent. Option D is the correct choice.
Question 77. Select the most appropriate synonym for the word enormous. A, gigantic. B, tiny. C, small. D, little.
The word enormous denotes something that is remarkably large in size, extent, or degree. When reviewing the options, tiny, small, and little all cluster together as words meaning the exact opposite, diminutive size. Gigantic, meaning huge or of immense, giant-like proportion, is the only matching synonym. Option A is the right choice.
Question 78 switches the objective to antonyms. Select the most appropriate antonym of the given word. Ascend. A, mount. B, descend. C, climb. D, rise.
An antonym, conversely, means a word that is the direct opposite in meaning. The verb to ascend means to go up, to climb, or to rise through the air, or up a gradient. Look at the options. Mount, climb, and rise are all active synonyms of ascend. They describe upward motion. The only word representing the opposite action, moving downward or falling, is descend. Option B is correct.
Question 79. Select the most appropriate antonym for frequent. A, regular. B, common. C, rare. D, often.
If an event is described as frequent, it implies that it happens quite often, at short intervals, or regularly. Therefore, the words regular, common, and often all act as functional synonyms in this context. The true antonym representing a phenomenon that does not happen often and is separated by long intervals is rare. Option C is the correct answer.
Next, we tackle idioms. These are fascinating because they are deeply cultural. Question 80. Select the most appropriate meaning of the given idiom, a piece of cake. A tasty dessert. B, a small portion. C, a difficult task. D, something very easy.
Idioms are phrases that have established figurative meanings entirely divorced from their literal translations. While a piece of cake literally might be a tasty dessert, metaphorically, the phrase originated to describe something sweet, pleasant, and requiring zero struggle. Thus, describing a task or a test as a piece of cake implies it requires very little effort or is remarkably simple to accomplish. So, option D, something very easy, is the correct figurative interpretation.
Question 81. Select the meaning of the idiom, to hit the nail on the head. A, to say exactly the right thing. B, to use a hammer. C, to make a mistake. D, to work very hard.
Visualize the literal action of carpentry. If you are driving a nail into wood, hitting it perfectly square, dead center on the flat head is the optimal, most precise, and most effective strike possible. Any deviation bends the nail. Metaphorically, hitting the nail on the head transfers that precision to communication or assessment. It means your statement, summary, or diagnosis was flawlessly accurate and precisely true to the situation. Therefore, option A, to say exactly the right thing, is the correct answer.
Spelling tests on exams can be visually dizzying because the options look so incredibly similar. Question 82. Select the correctly spelt word. A, E-M-B-A-R-A-S, B, E-M-B-A-R-A-S-C, E-M-B-A-R-A-S-D, E-M-B-A-R-A-S, which is the correct version of embarrass.
This specific word is a notorious trap. It is genuinely one of the most commonly misspelled words in the English language because intuition often tells us to drop one of the repeated consonants. However, the correct formal spelling requires doubling both specific consonant sets. You must have a double R and the double S, E-M-B-A-R-R-A-S-S. This strict structural requirement makes option B the only correct choice.
Question 83. Identify the misspelled word among the given options. A, surprise, B, argument, C, definitely D, separate.
Let's audit them. Surprise is structurally correct with its 2 R's and 2 S's. Argument is correct. Note the critical dropping of the E from the root verb argue when the suffix is added. Separate is correct, and a good trick is remembering there is a para in the middle of it. The structural flaw lies entirely in option C. In modern casual speech, the word is often lazily pronounced as definitely with an A sound. However, structurally, it is derived from the root word finite. The correct spelling must maintain that root integrity with an I, making it D-E-F-I-N-I-T-E-L-Y. So C is the definitively misspelled word.
Question 84 is a fill-in-the-blank exercise focusing on prepositions. The book consists blank 10 chapters. Options are A, in, B, with C, from, D, of.
This question is testing your recognition of fixed prepositional phrases in the English language. The verb consists, when used to detail the specific constituent parts that make up a larger whole entity, is almost exclusively followed by the preposition of. It is a rigid pairing. You would not say consists in or consists with in this context. Therefore, option D, of, is the only grammatically sound filler to complete the phrase.
Question 85. He will pass blank. He works hard. Options A, if B, but C, or D, although.
Analyze the logical relationship between the 2 clauses of the sentence. The first clause, he will pass, is an outcome. The second clause, he works hard, is the prerequisite requirement for that outcome to manifest. The sentence describes a dependent conditional outcome. The specific coordinating conjunction that establishes a conditional dependency is if. He will pass if he works hard. Option A correctly bridges the logic.
Question 86 is a truly fascinating test of article rules. Fill in the blank. I saw a blank one-eyed man near the gate. Options A, no article, B, A, C, N, D, the. Now let me play the student here. The word one starts with an O. O is a vowel. The foundational rule of English says we use am before vowels, so I'd confidently assume the answer is an. Why is that wrong?
Because that foundational rule is actually taught slightly incorrectly to young children, and that exact gap in knowledge is what the test makers are exploiting. The rule for choosing between the indefinite articles a and an is not based on the written visual letter at all. It is based entirely and exclusively on the phonetic sound of the word when spoken aloud.
Oh, I see.
While the word one visually starts with the vowel O, phonetically it is pronounced with a hard consonant sound, a W, sounding like one. Because the immediate sound that follows the article is a hard consonant sound, grammatical law dictates you must use the article A. You would say a one-eyed man, just as you would say a university, despite the U. Option B is the fundamentally correct choice.
That is a critical phonetic distinction to remember. Moving to grammar correction. Question 87. Select the grammatically correct sentence. A, neither he nor I is wrong. B, neither he nor I be wrong. C, neither he nor I am wrong. D, neither he nor I are wrong. I'll be honest, neither he nor I am sounds incredibly clunky. I want to say are because there are 2 people involved.
Your ear is tricking you because it logically registers multiple people, pushing you toward a plural verb. But this question tests a very rigid grammatical law called the rule of proximity. Think of the verb in this sentence like a powerful magnet. When a sentence contains compound subjects joined by correlative conjunctions like neither nor or either or, the verb does not look at both subjects. The magnetic verb only snaps to and agrees with the noun that is physically sitting right next to it in the sentence structure.
So it only cares about I.
Precisely. The 2 subjects here are he and I. The subject sitting closest to the verb slot is I. The correct mandatory verb form for the first person singular I is am. Therefore, despite how it might initially sound to a modern ear, either he nor I am wrong is the flawless grammatical construction. Option C is the answer.
Let's look at question 88, which feels like another trap. Select the grammatically correct sentence. A, one of the boys are absent. B, one of the boys were absent. C, one of the boys have absent. D, one of the boys is absent. I can clearly see the trap of the plural word boy sitting right next to the verb slot here.
You have exactly identified the psychological trap. The mind naturally wants to match the immediately preceding plural noun boys with a plural verb like are or were. However, you must identify the true architectural subject of the sentence. Boys is really part of the descriptive prepositional phrase of the boys, which just modifies the actual subject.
The subject is one.
Right. The true absolute subject governing the sentence is the singular pronoun one. Because the core subject is the singular one, the verb must reflect that singularity. The singular verb form is. Option D, one of the boys is absent, is correctly structured.
Let's test active and passive voice. Question 89. Change the following active sentence into the passive voice. The teacher punished the students. Options. A, the students were punished by the teacher. B, the students are punished by the teacher. C, the students have been punished by the teacher. D, the students were being punished by the teacher.
To accurately shift a sentence from active to passive voice, we essentially perform a structural inversion. The original object receiving the action, the students, is promoted to become the new subject of the sentence. Crucially, we must strictly maintain the original tense. The original active verb punished is in the simple past tense.
So we need a past tense helper verb.
Yes. Therefore, our new passive construction requires a simple past auxiliary verb that agrees with our new plural subject, students. That auxiliary is were. We follow that with the past participle of the main verb, which remains punished. Lastly, we introduce the original actor using a by phrase. Compiling this, we get the students were punished by the teacher. Option A is the correct tense-accurate passive form.
Question 90 goes the other direction, requiring a change into the active voice. The letters are posted every day. Options A, they have posted the letters every day. B, they post the letters every day. C, they posted the letters every day. D, they are posting the letters every day.
First, we identify the tense. The passive verb phrase are posted definitively signals the simple present tense. To convert this back to an active format, we first need to introduce an active subject performing the routine action, as it was omitted in the passive version. The generalized pronoun they works perfectly.
Now convert the verb.
Right, now we must convert the verb back to its active simple present form to match the original tense. Our posted simply reverts to the active verb post. Assembling the active structure, they post the letters every day. Option B correctly captures the active voice while maintaining the simple present routine aspect.
Let's look at narration, specifically converting direct speech to reported or indirect speech. Question 91. Select the correct indirect speech for, she said to me, you are late. Options. A, she said me that I was late. B, she told me that I am late. C, she told me that I was late. D, she told me that you were late.
Converting to indirect speech involves several mechanical shifts. First, the reporting phrase said to me is conventionally altered to told me when there is a clear object receiving the statement. Second, we must handle pronoun shifts based on perspective. The direct quotes pronoun you refers directly to the person being spoken to, which the prompt establishes is me. Therefore, from the reporter's perspective, you must shift to the first person I.
And the tense changes too, right?
Yes, finally, and most importantly, we apply the backshift rule for tenses. Because the reporting verb said establishes the entire event in the past, the present tense verb are inside the quote must backshift into the past tense was. Combining all these required shifts, we construct, she told me that I was late. Option C is the structurally correct reported speech.
Question 92 requires indirect speech for an interrogative. He said, do you like coffee? Options. A, he asked, do I like coffee? B, he asked whether I like coffee. C, he asked whether you liked coffee. D, he asked whether I liked coffee.
The rules change slightly for questions. Because this is a direct, closed yes-no question, we don't just drop the quotation marks. We replace them by inserting the conditional words if or whether to link the clauses. The reporting verb naturally shifts from said to the inquiring verb asked. The pronoun you again shifts to I to reflect the reporter's perspective.
And backshift the tense again.
Right. Then we apply the tense backshift. The present tense verb like must backshift to the past tense liked. Crucially, the interrogative structure is flattened out into a standard declarative statement format. So the correct, fully shifted reporting is, he asked whether I liked coffee. Option D represents the accurate indirect speech.
Question 93 introduces one-word substitution, essentially testing specialized vocabulary. Select the correct substitution for a doctor who treats children. A, pediatrician. B, cardiologist. C, dentist. D,